Hello, sir. Is it audible?
Hello.
Okay, that's fine. So, as I am audible to you, it's okay to take the class. And if you have any queries, please keep it in the chat box so that I can reply. So, but for the time being, I don't know. Why I am unable to hear to you. So, your voice is not reaching me. However, we'll. Okay, sir, could you rejoin? Yes, yes. I'll try to rejoin once again. Let me check. Am I audible now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Audible.
Hmm.
I don't think so. Can hear us.
Okay, then we'll start. So, since you are able to hear me, it's think it's okay. So we can start the session. But if you have any queries, please pose in the chat box so that I can answer. So let me start recording. Yeah, these are the topics of today's lecture. The starting one was already covered in the last session, that the functions of the data link layer. The first one, design issues and services, and framing. That is what we have covered in the last lecture. In today's lecture, we'll continue with error control and flow control aspects. Let me skip these things as it was already covered in the last lectures. So framing, we have discussed 4 techniques. The first technique was character count, flag bytes or byte stuffing, bit stuffing, and physical layer coding. So we have discussed these things, and the second aspect was error control. So where we have already started with this also, that the kinds of errors that we can expect is a single bit and multiple bits. There are some techniques which can give you to detect and correct single bit errors, and there are few techniques which can detect multiple errors, and some may be limited only for detection but not corrections. So we'll see all such techniques, and starts with Hamming coding. So Hamming code is nothing but the distance. Okay, Hamming distance is nothing but the XOR operation of any two given code words. Okay, you can see here that there are two code words. Code words in the sense a bit stream 000 and 011. If you perform XOR of these two values, you will get 011. So the number of ones in the result of XOR operation is called Hamming distance. So you can see here 10101 is one code word, and 410 is another code word. If you perform XOR operation, the result is 01011. The number of ones is 3, so Hamming distance is 3. So in simple terms, the Hamming distance is the number of ones in the result XOR operation of two given code words. You can see the pair of possible code words are performed XOR operation, and the number of ones in the result is Hamming distance. So this is another example where you have 5-bit code words, and the XOR operation between these two code words is Hamming distance. If you see, the Hamming distance is sometimes it is 3, sometimes it is 4 for the same length of code words. So here the minimum Hamming distance, we are minding it. So that helps us to define the number of errors that I can detect and correct. So that is the reason why we are going for defining the minimum Hamming distance. So given Hamming distance, the number of errors that you can detect is Hamming distance minus 1. Okay, so S is the number of errors that you can detect. So D minimum is equal to S plus 1. So S is equal to D minimum minus 1. At the same time, the number of errors that you can correct, okay, once you detect, possibly you can able to correct them. So the number of errors that you can correct is D minimum, minimum Hamming distance minus 1 by 2, the floor value. Okay. So this is a minimum. For example, if you take a minimum Hamming distance is 4, the number of errors that we can detect is D minimum minus 1, which is 3, and the number of errors that we can correct is D minimum minus 1 over 2. So that is 4 minus 1, 3 by 2, 1.5, floor value is 1. So that is how it helps you to define the number of errors that you can detect and correct. Now coming to the Hamming codes. So how to construct the Hamming codes? So remember the code word. So the code word is nothing but the message bits and some redundant bits. So we have some data to transmit. So that we are taking here as M, small m. You can see here the M is the number of bits that I want to transmit. And in order to transmit, okay, so and so that at the receiving end, in order to identify the errors and correct them, I'm appending, I'm trying to send some more extra bits which are called redundant bits. So here R represents that number of redundant bits. So message bits along with the redundant bits is called a code word of length small n. So in the sense n is equal to m plus r. So plus means it is a just appending. It is not that conventional addition. Instead, it is appending. So the data bits are appended with redundant bits. So now the question is how many redundant bits I should append for the given m bits. So it is defined with an inequality that m plus r plus 1 is less than or equal to 2 power r. Okay. So m is the number of data bits that I want to transmit, and r is the number of redundant bits I supposed to append to my data. So m plus r plus 1 is less than or equal to 2 power r. So you try to pick up the value of r such that it satisfies the value of this inequality. For instance, let's say I have a message of 7 bits. Okay, so let you calculate along with me. So m, I want to transmit 7 data bits. So 7 plus r plus 1 less than or equal to 2 power r. So that means 8 plus r less than or equal to 2 power r. So you try to take a value of r. So let's say r is equal to 0. So it doesn't satisfy the inequality because 8 plus 0 is less than or equal to 2 power 0, which is 1. So 8 never be less than or equal to 1. So r equal to 0 is it's not valid. R equal to 1, which is 8 plus 1, 9 less than or equal to 2 power 1. So again, it's not satisfying the inequality. So r equal to 2, 8 plus 2, 10 less than or equal to 2 power 2, which is 4. So it is false. Then you have r equal to 3, 8 plus 3, which is 11 less than or equal to 2 power 3, which is 8. So 11 cannot be less than or equal to 8. So r equal to 4. So 8 plus 4, which is 12 less than or equal to 2 power 4, which is 16. So the minimum value of r should be 4. So the point here is, in order to transmit my 7 message bits, I need to generate 4 bits, okay, which are redundant. So 7 plus 4, 11 is my length of the code word. Okay, this is how you need to understand. So same way, in order to transmit 4 data bits, the minimum value of r that satisfies this inequality is 3. So 4 plus 3, 7 is your length of the code word that you are going to transmit. Now the next question is that how to get this values. So we have defined how many redundant bits I should append to my message bits. Now how to get them? So this you take numbers 1 to 12. Okay, so 1 to 12, you try to represent these numbers in only powers of 2. So this I have explained for a few batches in the lab also. However, you try to represent numbers 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 only in powers of 2. So for instance, 1 can be represented as 2 power 0, 2 can be represented as 2 power 1, 3 can be represented as 2 power 1 plus 2 power 0, so on and so forth. So similarly, 11 can be represented as 2 power 3 plus 2 power 1 plus 2 power 0. So like that, you represent numbers 1 to 12 in powers of 2. So now let us pick up the numbers. Let us pick up the numbers which contains 2 power 0. Okay, so 2 power 0. So what are all the numbers that we have? Number 1 contains 2 power 0, number 3 contains 2 power 0, similarly 5 7 9 11. So 1 3 5 7 9 11. So these are all the numbers which contain 2 power 0 term. Same way, you try to gather the numbers which have 2 power 1 term. So that becomes number 2. 2 has 2 power 1 term, 3 has 2 power 1 term, and 6 has 2 power 1 term, 7 has 2 power 1 term, 10 has 2 power 1 term, 11 has 2 power 1 term. So 2, 3, 6, 7, 10, and 11 has a term which is 2 power 1. Same way 2 power 2 and 2 power 3. So now this is a basic idea behind this Hamming coding. So now what we do is, I want to transmit, let's say some 8-bit of data. Okay. So I have 8-bit of data to transmit. So in order to transmit 8-bit, so you know, this is a small m. 8 is a small m. So if you remember the inequality, which is m plus r plus 1 less than or equal to 2 power r. So m is 8, 8 plus r plus 1, which is 9. So 9 plus r less than or equal to 2 power r. So it is, you know, r should be minimum of 4. So in order to satisfy the inequality, the minimum value of r should be 4. So in order to transmit 8 data bits, I should append 4 r bits. So now where to keep that r bits? So you reserve powers of 2 positions. So first position, okay, so the rightmost side is your first position, which is 2 power 0 position, right? So 2 power 0 position, 2 power 0 means 1. So the first position is reserved. So here I am going to keep one redundant bit, and same way 2 power 1 position, that is second position, I am going to keep another redundant bit, and 2 power 2, so which is fourth position, here I am going to keep one redundant bit, and same way 2 power 3, which is eighth position, I am going to keep the last redundant bit. So at this point of time, you know that for a given number of message bits, you know how many redundant bits you need to generate and where to keep them. So we had to keep them in powers of 2 positions. So that is what you should understand at this point of time. Now these values, the next positions can be filled with your 8-bit of data. Starts from right side. Okay, starts from right side. So remember, this rightmost is LSB and leftmost is MSB. That is called a little endian format. Okay, little endian, en, not in, ENDIAN, Indian format, which is Intel follows. Okay, so the LSB is on the rightmost end and MSB is on the leftmost end. Fine. So like that, you take the LSB of your data and keep in the third position. The next bit, fifth position, sixth, seventh, ninth, 10th, 11th, and the last bit will be in the 12th position. Okay, so like that. So you can see here, so my message bits I have filled in the positions other than powers of 2. Now my job is to fill these positions of powers of 2. The first position value I want. So first position is 2 power 0 term. So how to get the 2 power 0 term is, you have this, right? So 2 power 0 is present in these numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and 11. So all odd positions. So now the first position we do not know. So that is what we are trying to find it. So now we know the remaining position values, that is 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. So we know that. Now what you do is you take that values. So simultaneously you try to do this. So you take this 1, 1, 0, 1 and 8th position is reserved. Okay, you try to copy this and do the same thing. So 7th position is filled with 0, 6th position 1, 5th position 1, 4th position is reserved, and 3rd position 0, 2nd position 0, 1st position is reserved. So let's say the first position is small r naught, okay, redundant bit. So r naught can be generated as XOR operation of the position values, that is 3 XOR 5 XOR 7 XOR 9 XOR 11. Okay. So 3 third position is 0, fifth position is 1, and seventh position is 0, ninth position is 1, and 11th position is 1. So you perform XOR operation of all these values. Okay. So third position 0, fifth position 1, and seventh position 0, ninth position 1, 11th position 1. So 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 1 0 0 1 1. So r naught is 1. That is what I got now. And the same way r1. So r1 is nothing but 2 power 1. So 2 power 1 is present in these numbers, that is 2 3 6 7 10 and 11. So we want the second position. So what you do is 3 XOR 6 XOR 7 XOR 10 XOR 11. 3 means 0, sixth position 1 XOR seventh position 0, 10th position 0, 11th position 1. So 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 0 1 1 1 0. So r1 is 0. Okay, r1 means yeah. So that is second position, right? So second position is 0. So you can see in the slide also. And r0 is 1. R0 is 1. R1 is 0. R2 we should find now. R2 is it is 2 power 2. So 4 XOR, so fourth position we want. So 5 XOR 6 XOR 7 XOR 12. So which is 5. 5 is 1 XOR 1. 7 is 0 XOR 12 1. So 1 1 0 0 0 0 0 1 1. So R2 is 1. That is what I am getting here. And the same way R3 is 8th position. So R3 is 8th position. So 2 power 3. So what are the numbers? That 8 9 10 11 and 12. So 8 is the one which we want. So it is 9 XOR 10 XOR 11 XOR 12. So 9 is 1, 10 is 0, 11 is 1, 12 is 1. So 1 0 1 1 1 0 0 1 1. So R3 is 1. So R3, R2, R1, R0 is equal to 1 1 0 1 1 1 0 1. Okay, so this is how we have to identify them. You can see here. So R3 is 1, which is filled in the position of 8, and R2 is 1, which is filled in the position of 4, and R1, which is 0, filled in the position of 2, and R0 is filled in the position of 1. So this is my code word, which I am going to transmit from the sender side using Hamming coding technique. So now how really it helps you to identify the errors at the receiver. So now what we do is, let's assume that the same 12-bit code word is received at the receiver without any changes. So it means that it is successfully received. So let us check that. How receiver will come to know that there are no errors. So let us repeat these calculations. Okay, let's repeat these calculations. So you can copy this code word if you want. So the code word is 1101 1101 and 10111 and 001. This is the 12-bit code word. So now let you calculate same R0, R1, R2, R3. So how to calculate that? Same like a previous. Now R0 you should calculate, which is XR of the positions 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. So now you have to include first position also, because we know that value now at the receiver. At the transmitter we were not knowing and we are trying to generate it, so we omit the first position. So same way R1 can be calculated as XR of positions 2, 3, 6, 7, 11, sorry 6, 7, 10 and 11. Okay, so R1 is XR of the position values 2, 3, 6, 7, 10 and 11. Same way R2 is position XR operation of position values of 4, 5, 6, 7 and 12. Similarly R3 is XR of position values of 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So let you calculate that. So R0 is coming to 1, 2, 4, 8. Fine. Now coming to this received code word that we have received. Yeah. So now R0 you calculate. So that is first position value, which is 1, XR with third position value 0, XR with fifth position value 1, XR with seventh position value 0, XR with ninth position value 1, XR with 11th position value, which is 1. So 1 0 1 1 1 0 0 0 0 0 1 1 1 1 0. So R0 is 0. Same way R1 is 2 XR 3 XR 6 XR 7 XR 10 XR 11. So 2 is 0, right? Second position is 0. XR with third position 0, XR with sixth position 1, XR with seventh position 0, XR with 10th position 0, XR with 11th position 1. So which is 0 0 0 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 0 1 1 1 0. So R2 is also R1 is also 0. Now R2 is XR of 4, 5, 6, 7, 12. So fourth value is 1, XR of fifth is 1, XR of sixth is 1, XR of seventh is 0, XR of 12, which is 1. So 1 1 0 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 1 0. So R2 is 0. R3 is 8 XR of 9, XR of 10, XR of 11, XR of 12. So 8 is 1, XR 9, 1, XR 10, which is 0, XR 11, 1, XR 12, which is 1. So 1 1 0 0 0 0 0 1 1 1 1 0. So R3 is again 0. So if you look into at the receiver side, when you calculate R3, R2, R1, R0, all are zeros. So when you arrive at 0 value for all the redundant bits, it means that the received code word is perfect. So your job is now to extract your data. So what you should do, you omit the powers of two positions, that is first position, second position, fourth position, eighth position. So these values you ignore it, and the rest of the bits are your data. So that is how Hamming code word works. So it helps you to detect the errors. Now try to prove that this Hamming code word will able to detect the errors. Okay, so one thing what we have drawn is, if all R bits are zeros, then no errors. Fine. So now what happens if there exists an error? How to identify it? So that is what we are trying to do it now. So let us take the same code word. So deliberately what I'll do is, I'll try to flip some bit. Okay, so let me flip some second bit. Okay, so the actual second position bit value is 0. Okay. So now what I'll do, deliberately I'm inserting an error. So that whether my Hamming coding helps me to detect that error. So that is what I'm trying to do now. So now the code word is 11011 011 011. Okay, so remember in the current slide where I am talking about the second bit position value, I have flipped to 1. Okay, so that means I have introduced an error and I should find it now. So I should be able to find that there exists an error in the second position. That is what I am trying to do now. What I'll do is let's calculate R naught. R naught is 1 XOR 3 XOR 5 XOR 7 XOR 9 XOR 11. So it doesn't change, right? So it's a 0. Next R1. R1 is 2 XOR R1 is 2 XOR 3 XOR 6 XOR 7 XOR 10 and 11. So 10 XOR 11. So 2 is now its second position is 1 XOR 3 is 0, 6 is 1, 7 is 0, 10 is 0, 11 is 1. So this is 1 0 1 1 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 1 1 1. So R1 value is 1. Same way you calculate R2. R2 is 4 5 6 7 and 12. 4 5 6 7 and 12. So 4 is 1, XOR 5 is 1, XOR 6 is 1, XOR 7 is 0, XOR 12 is 1. So 1 1 0 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 1 0. So R2 I am getting as 0. Same way R3 is 8 XOR 9 XOR 10 XOR 11 XOR 12, which is 8 is 1 XOR 1 XOR 0 XOR 1 XOR 1. So this is 0. So R3 is 0. So now let you summarize it. R3, R2, R1, or not is 0 0 1 0. Okay. So 0 0 1 0. What it means? What's the actual value of this? It is 2. So 0 0 1 0 means 2. So we can conclude that there exists an error at the position 2. Okay, so what is the value at position 2? It is 1, right? So it is 1. So it says that is an error because you got the redundant values, redundant bits as 0 0 1 0. So which is 2. The actual value is 2. It means there exists an error at position 2. So what you should do now, you go to position 2. So whatever the bit that is present, just you flip it so that you are trying to correct it. Okay. So here you have second position which is 1. So you have to flip it to 0. So that is how it helps you to detect the errors. Okay. So same way, Hamming code helps you to find odd number of errors. Okay, odd number of errors. However, it helps you to detect a single bit errors. Okay. So now quickly, can you do this? So I'm giving a 8-bit data, for you. So what you should do? You should form the code word. You should form the code word. Okay. So please do this. So what you do, you just reserve the powers of two positions, that is first position, second position, and fourth position, and eighth position. You leave that, and the remaining positions you fill with bits which are given here. So 12th position I am going to fill with 1, 11th position I am going to fill with 1, 10th position 0, 9th position 0, 8th position I should reserve for R3, 7th position I am going to fill it with 0, 6th position I am going to fill with 1, 5th position I am going to fill with 0, 4th position I cannot because that is R2, 3rd position I am going to fill with 0, 2nd position is R1, 1st position is R0. Okay, so this is how I am trying to form my code word. So now try to derive R0. So R0 is XOR operation of all odd position values. So which is 3 XOR 5, 3 XOR 5, XOR 7, XOR 9, XOR 11. So which is 1. So similarly R1. R1 is 3 XOR 6, XOR 7, XOR 10, XOR 11, which is 1. So this is 0. R2 is 5, 6, 7, 12, right? So 5, 6, 7, 12, yes. So 5 is 0, 6 is 1, 7 is 0, 12 is 1. So this is 0. R3 is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Sorry, so yeah. So 8 we are going to find that. So 9, 10, 11, 12. So 9, 0, 0, 11, 12. So it is 0. So R0 is 1, the rest all values are zeros. Okay. So 0, 0, 0. Let me fill this. So my received code word is 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, right? 0, 1. Okay, so the code word, if I am not wrong, 1140s and 1401. Am I correct? Can someone answer this? So can someone answer this? So where is my chat box? So you need to recalculate at the receiver to detect the errors, okay? To detect the errors. So assume that you have received the same code word, okay? So the same code word you have calculated and verify for errors. Verify for errors. So what is supposed to do? R0 is XOR operation of 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and 11, right? Position values. Same way R1 is XOR of 2, 3, 6, 7, 10 and 11. R2 is XOR of 4, 5, 6, 7 and 12. R3 is XOR of 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So now what's the values of R0, R1, R2, R3? Values of R0, R1 and R3. Yes, all should be zeros. So this means that no errors in the received code word. Okay. For example, if you get a non-zero R values, so that value itself is the position of the error. Okay. So if you get a non-zero R values, then that value itself is the position of the error. So you should flip that bit in order to correct. So that is how you have to address the Hamming code words. Okay. So here they have taken the other way. Don't follow this. Always, LSB is the right side. So here they have taken the left side. So don't get confused. Okay. So that is about Hamming codes. So you can see here the R bits are in pink color here. So for the given message bits, 4 data bits, so minimum 3 bits has to be generated, R bits, and here they have kept at the end instead of powers of 2 positions. And this is a 2-dimensional. You can also do in the column by column also. Okay, so you can see here the characters Hamming code. So the equivalent ASCII values are given, and for each of these we have formed the code words, and we can send by column. So that is also possible. So you can see here the first column. So first column means the first bit or the last bit. The MSB bit of each character is transmitted first, and then the next MSB bit is transmitted. So like that, the order of the bit transmission is from top to bottom. So each bit from one character is taken and transmitted. And coming to parity checking codes, so we have even parity and odd parity. The definition of even parity means that the number of ones, including the parity bit, should be even. So for instance, you can see here, you can see 100 1011. This is the data given to you. So the parity bit that it needs to generate for this data is 0, because altogether, if you see, the number of ones should be 0. Number of ones should be even. So that is called even parity. Same way. So if you want to generate odd parity, then the number of ones in the given code word, including the parity bit, should be odd. So that is odd parity. So here there is a mistake. So try to rectify it. So here in this example, 100 1011. So if you follow even parity, then parity bit is 0. If you follow odd parity, parity bit is 1. Okay, so like that it goes. So parity checking, it tells you that the number of ones, including the parity bit, so p bit, which is 1 bit, if it is even, then it's if you are following even parity, then the total number of ones should be even, otherwise it's odd. Simple. So how it helps you? So if any one of the bit is flipped to the other side, then the parity will not satisfy. So it can help you to detect a single bit errors or odd number of bit errors. Okay. So if two bits got flipped, then you cannot identify the errors. So parity check helps you to only detect the odd number of errors, but it cannot help you to correct them. So you can see here, can someone tell what parity we have followed here? The data is given here. And the corresponding code words are mentioned in pink color. So my question here is, what is the parity that we have followed, whether it is a even parity or odd parity? Super. So it's a even parity. So you can see here the number of ones in the code word, including the p bit, is even. It helps you only to detect the odd number of errors, but not corrections. Fine. So now coming to the CRC, cyclic redundancy check, which is very, 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 very important in all the communication coding techniques. Okay. So you can see when you work with 4G, 5G, all there you can see the CRC values. Okay. That's the importance of this. This is another error control technique that helps you to detect the errors. We cannot correct it, but still you can detect. So how it works? Let me take an example and try to explore that. So it is also, we can also play with polynomials. Okay, so CRC division polynomials. So, but most of the in our discussions we'll play directly with the bits instead of polynomials. However, you try to understand how you can represent, okay, so the data stream in terms of polynomials. So you see here 1000011. I have this bit stream. So the equivalent polynomial I can represent like this. So I'm talking about the second notation that. So the LS rightmost is LSB. So which is x power 0 term. Okay. So the LSB is x power 0 term, and the next bit is x power 1 term, and the next bit is x power 2 term. So you can see here x power 2, x power 3, x power 4, x power 5 terms are zeros. So you can skip it. So because 0 into x power 2 is 0 itself, so you can ignore that, and straight away x power 6. So 1000011, the equivalent polynomial representation is x power 6 plus x plus 1. So if I give this polynomial, you should be able to expand it. Okay, so x power 6, x power plus x plus 1. If I give that polynomial, it is as same as 1000011. Okay, so that's a polynomial representation of the given bit stream. Fine. Now you see here CRC division, how we can do that. This is a message polynomial x power 7 plus x power 6 plus x power 5 plus x power 2 plus x. So remember that the powers of x, the terms which are missing, you should substitute with zeros. Okay, and the generator polynomial. Okay, so generator polynomial or divisor, so which is x power 3 plus x plus 1. So how we can do this? It's a simple XOR operation. Okay, so it is not a conventional division, instead it is a XOR operation. So let me skip this because I'll try to explain directly with the bit stream instead of playing with polynomials. However, both are the same. So these are some standard polynomials which we use for different applications. You can see here for LANs, CRC32 we use. For HDLC, we use CRC16. These are all standard polynomials. And there are some, characteristics that these polynomials will have. So for instance, you can see all the polynomials are having, at least two terms. So let me go there. Yeah. So the polynomials, they should have at least two terms, and you can see every polynomial should have a powers of 0. Okay, x power 0. So that is nothing but 1. So you can observe x power 0 term in all the polynomials. X power 0 is nothing but 1. So same way, it should be divisible by x plus 1. Okay, so it should be divisible by x plus 1. So like that. So that characteristics you need to have when you are defining the polynomial. Make sure that they obey these properties. So it should not be divisible by x. So it means that, so you cannot take x as common term from the given polynomial. Fine. So now let us take a simple example in order to understand the CRC division. Remember, CRC division is not a conventional division. Instead, it is simple XOR operation. Fine. So let you understand this division, how it works. So 11001 is my data bits. Okay. And 101 is my divisor. Okay. So divisor also called as generator. Generator polynomial. So now what I will do is, so let me start division. So 1101 is my data. So I'm trying to divide with 101. So in the quotient part, I'll keep 1, and the divisor value I'll keep here. So 110, just below that you can keep 101, perform XOR operation. So what you will get is 1 XOR. 1 XOR 1 is a 0, so you can ignore that, and the result is 0 double 1. So 0 can be ignored. So of course it is not shown here. And double 1, you will after end of first iteration, you will be getting a 1 1. Okay. So now what you do is, since it is only 2-bit, so what you should do, you should bring 1 bit from the dividend, okay, which is a data bit. So 0 can be brought here for the second iteration. So you will have 110. So now you can keep 1 in the quotient part and keep divisor 101 here, perform XOR operation. So 110 XOR with 101 is 0 double 1 again. So 0 is ignored and double 1 is left with you, and you can bring the bit from dividend, which is data bit. So triple 1 you will be having. So triple 1 you keep in the quotient part 1 and 101. So perform XOR operation. So you will be ended up with 0 1 0 0 1 0. So now what is your job is, so you try to take the reminder. Okay, so what is the reminder? 0 1 0. So but you should consider only 2 bits, because the number of bits in the divisor is 3. You are taking a 3-bit divisor. So 3 minus 1 2. So 2 bits should be your reminder. So that 2 bits, that reminder value, you append to your message bits. That becomes your code word. Simple. Okay. So you are trying to, using CRC method, what you are trying to do is, for the given data bits, using generator, you are trying to derive the reminder, and that reminder value you are going to append to your message bits to form the code word. Okay, so let you take another example. If the data to be transmitted is 1001 and divisor is 1011, form the code word. So how to form the code word? Code word is nothing but M plus R. M is your message bits, which is 1001, and R bits. R bits you have to generate, which is the R is nothing but the reminder of the CRC division. R is the remainder of the CRC division. So now what you do is, in order to start dividing, so the data, right? So data followed by the number of zeros. So the number of zeros is nothing but the generator polynomial, which is 1011, 4-bit value. 4 minus 1, 3. So 3 zeros you append. Okay. So data is 1001 followed by 3 zeros, which you needs to append it. Okay. Then you start CRC division. So why you should do this appending of 3 bits is, after division, whatever the reminder that you get, that reminder value you are going to replace. Okay, here, that is these 3 zeros will be replaced with the reminder to get the code word. So data is 1001 and CRC value, which is nothing but your reminder, which is 110. So 110 is your CRC value. Together it becomes a code word. So make sure that even though this coefficient is not considered, okay, so the coefficient is not having much importance here. However, in order to perform a proper division without any mistakes, make sure that this coefficient also is correct. So how we validate this CRC division is that we'll look at the remainder. At the same time, we'll also look at the coefficient value. So both should be correct. So when both are correct, then only your division is correct. So otherwise, it's quite simple to tell, right? So sometimes what we do using calculators, we can take the equivalent value. So 1001 divided by 1011 and trying to do something, and finally the result will represent in binary. So that should not happen. So the coefficient values also should be in the proper order. Fine. So now here, most of the time in the textbooks, for the CRC division, what they do is they start. Let us see this example. 1011 is your generator polynomial, and keeping 1 in the coefficient part, I am proceeding with the first iteration. So 1011 I am keeping below 1001. So I'll arrive at 0010. So 0010. So what I can do is, anyhow for each iteration, the leftmost 0 will be removed. Okay, so you can see here 110, that is not shown here, and you are showing with 010, right? So 010. Then you have to, for every iteration, remember you have to pick one bit from the dividend. Okay, so I am picking from a dividend which is 0. So 0100 I have right now. So before starting the second iteration. So for each iteration, okay, make sure that the leftmost bits are, when you perform XOR, it will be 0 and it will be omitted. And one bit you have to pick up from the dividend. Okay, so now what you should do? What you should do is, since again you have 0 here, instead of dividing with divisor polynomial, you divide with zeros, all zeros, and coefficient you keep 0. So that is what the textbook representation says. But my experience, it says that, so instead of dividing with all zeros, what you do is you ignore this LSB. Okay, so sorry, MSB. You ignore this MSB because it's a 0. When you are ignoring the extra 0, keep 0 in the coefficient and download one more bit from the dividend. So in the same iteration, I am trying to get 2 bits from the dividend, because the MSB is again 0. Okay, then you start proceeding. So that's how I do it, so that the number of iterations I can reduce. Fine. Then how it helps at the receiver? So this is the received code word. You can see 1001 is your actual data, followed by CRC value, which is 110. So these two are the CRC values. So now what you do, you repeat the CRC division with the same divisor 1011. So it's a XOR operation again. So for each iteration, what you should do, you should perform XOR operation of these dividend bits with divisor bits, and perform XOR. You will and you get you try to get one bit from the dividend for every iteration. So like that you proceed, and when you landed up at all zeros, so that means CRC reminder is 0. Okay, it means no errors in the received code word. So now what you should do, you should ignore the last 3 bits. Okay, so because the number of bits in the divisor is 4 minus 1, 3 bits, you should ignore. The remaining is your data. So that's how you can extract the data. So now can someone answer this? So data word is, I think this is the one which we have done it, right? Yes, this is the one which we have done so far. You can see here again, no. Yes. So 1001 is your data. So 1011 is your generator polynomial. So the number of bits that you need to append while doing a division is three zeros. And in each iteration, you are going to take, 1 bit from the dividend. 1 bit from the dividend. As per the textbook procedure, on the right side, left side, if you have extra zeros, if you find, then you have to divide with all zeros instead of the actual divisor. But my way is that, so I'll proceed with the actual divisor only. So by ignoring this extra zero and keep zero in the coefficient part and get one more bit from the dividend. So 2 bits at a stretch I am going to get. So here if you see, all are zeros. At the receiver, all are zeros. It means that the received code word is perfect. Now you see, we have deliberately introduced one error in the received code word. So instead of 1001, I have kept as 1000, and 110 is your CRC. So when you do XOR operation, you will arrive at non-zero syndrome. So syndrome is nothing but a reminder, CRC value. So when you arrive at non-zero syndrome, it means that the received code data code word is having errors. So you can discard it. So CRC helps you in that way. So this is how you have to implement it. So for the given data word, you try to use generator polynomial and form the code word. So CRC division you are going to perform in the generator, and the remainder of the CRC division is kept beside the data bits to form the code word. And make sure that the same divisor you are going to use at the receiver also. So the received code word is again performed using CRC division, and that syndrome you are going to check. If the syndrome value is 0, it means that the received code word is perfect. So you are going to take out your data. If the syndrome value is non-zero, then you are going to discard the code word because it contains the errors. Is that clear? CRC division. So once you practice, you will come to know it. But remember, it's a simple XOR operation. Can you answer this? Can you do CRC division? So what you do is you take this data bits. Okay, so what are the data bits here? 11111101. Yes, 11111101. Am I correct? 1111. Yes. So now, how many zeros I should append for the dividend before I proceed to CRC division? Yes, exactly. It's 3 zeros because the number of bits in the divisor is 4. Number of bits. We don't mind about the value. So we are going to look at the number of bits in the divisor. So number of bits minus 1. So which is 3. So 3 zeros I am going to append. I'm going to append in the dividend part. So now let me continue with my division. So by keeping 1 in the coefficient 1101, so can you do simultaneously so that you can give the remainder value of this 0010. So 1 0 0 1, fine. 1 1 0 0 1 1 1 1 1 0 fine. 0 1 1 0 1. Yes, exactly. So CRC is 111. So now what is your transmitted code word? So transmitted code word is message, the data bits, right? So message bits which are 11111101 followed by 111. Okay, exactly correct. So you can see here. So I did not, shown that appended 000. Okay. So this is one iteration. You can see here, keeping 1 in the quotient part and keeping the divisor here and perform XOR operation. So you will get 0010. So this leftmost 0 will be ignored and 1 bit from the dividend you are going to take before proceeding to the next iteration. Can you see this? What I did, I have skipped dividing with all zeros. So in the second iteration itself, I could perform two rounds, right? So you can see here, this anyhow the leftmost 0 will be ignored, and again you have one more 0 here. So what I did was, I brought 2 bits from the dividend, which is 10. Instead of 1 bit at a time, for each iteration 1 bit you should bring it, but here since the leftmost bits 2 bits are zeros, so I kept 0 in the coefficient and I proceeded with the next iteration by keeping 1 in the coefficient. So like this I can proceed actually. So this is one step I have bypassed here. So then the last step, yes, yeah. So you can see by keeping 3 zeros, by appending 3 zeros, you will arrive at 111. So you will get 0.111, but 0 you have to ignore because the remainder is 111 only. Okay, so because we are going to replace that reminder with in the place of this appended 3 bits. So we have appended only 3 bits. So we had to consider only 3 bits here. So that is how you have to do it. So the received code word is, what is the received code word? You can see the message bits, and these 3 zeros are appended plus 111. So you can just add the CRC value, which is nothing but a reminder, with the code word which we have assumed, that is a dividend, or else for the message bits just you append that CRC bits. Both are same. So now at the receiver, what you should do? So you assume that the same code word is received at the receiver and repeat the CRC division with the same generator. Okay, so same divisor. You will arrive at all zeros. The remainder is all zeros. So it means that there is no errors. Okay. So if you arrive with a non-zero error, non-zero remainder, then there must be some errors. That is the conclusion of this. Can someone do this? So somebody should tell the coefficient of this. So if you follow textbook procedure, it gives a lengthy, more iterations. But using the shortcut that I have told you really helps to solve this numerical in a with a minimum number of iterations. So how many zeros I should append here before going for CRC division? How many zeros? Yes, it's a 4 zeros, correct. One double zero double one zero one 001. Fine. Next is 1 bit. I'm going to get it from the dividend. For every iteration, you have to get 1 bit from the dividend. 10011. So in the second iteration, you can see all became zeros when you perform XOR operation. However, the leftmost bit should be ignored. On 1 bit, you have to bring it from the dividend, which is 1 here. Now you have extra 4 zeros on the left side. So what you can do, you keep you keep those 4 zeros in the quotient part and get extra 4 bits from the dividend. So this 0110. So 1 1 0 0 1 0 1 fine. Then I'll get this 0. I have extra 0, so 0 0 1 1 double 0 1 1 0 0 1 1 1. Yes, can someone answer? I have completed. So what I got is remainder is 110. Quotient is So you should also give the correct coefficient. What is the coefficient value? Can someone answer? Let me check what I have, what I got. So I got it as 1100001010. Vedant, please check your answer. In the last iterations, you went somewhere wrong. It's not 5 zeros, it's a 4 zeros only. Yes, Shantanu Shastri. Yes, so coefficient is that. So this is a textbook procedure where you can see when you have extra zeros on the left side during XOR operations, so you will be dividing with all zeros instead of the generator. So that is how they have followed. That leads to more number of iterations. But in short, so I could solve this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 iterations. Okay, so I have solved this CR set division in 4 iterations. But here, if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 iterations they have taken, so we can short it down. So similarly, these examples you can do it. And let's pass on to another technique called checksum. Okay, so checksum again, it helps you to detect the errors but not for corrections. So the simple logic behind this checksum is that, see, when I want to send some numbers, so let's say 7, 12, 7, 11, 12, 0 and 6, these are the numbers that I want to transmit. What I'll do is I'll try to add these numbers, which is 36. Okay, so now what I'll do is just I complement it. Complement means minus 36. So now that minus 36 will be transmitted along with these numbers. Okay, so that is 7, 11, 12, 0, 6. These are my actual numbers to be transmitted. Along with that, I am transmitting minus 36. Okay, so now at the receiver, what I'll do, I'll add all the numbers, including the checksum. I should arrive at 0. Okay, so when I arrive at 0, it means that no errors, otherwise there exists errors. So this is the fundamental concept behind the checksum. Okay, so let me repeat. So what I am going to do is I am going to add all the numbers which I want to transmit and complement that sum value, which is minus 36, and I am going to transmit. At the receiver, I'll add all those numbers, including that checksum value. So where I'll arrive at 0, which indicates that no errors, otherwise there exists errors. Fine. So let us, keeping this concept in mind, let's come to the actual checksum, how I am going to do that. Yes. So 7, 11, 12, 0, 6. These are the numbers I am going to transmit. So initially, I don't know the checksum. What I am doing is I am keeping it as 0. And I have added them So 36 I got. Okay. See carefully here. 36. The equivalent representation, binary representation is this 100 100. That is equivalent representation of 36. Now what I am doing, trying to do here is all these numbers I am representing only with 4-bit. Understand? You can see the numbers 7. I am going to use the 4 bits to represent it. 11, 12, 0, 6. So all these data numbers which I am trying to transmit are represented in 4-bit. Now when you add all of these, you got 36, which is equivalent binary is 100 100. However, you should represent this 36 with 4 bits only. Okay, with 4 bits only. So how I can represent 36 with 4-bit? So what you do is you wrap it. Okay, so you wrap the bits. So you can see here the leftmost 2 bits I am bringing onto the right side and I am adding it. So you can see that red color one. So this 10 I brought onto the LSB side and I am adding it. So which results in 0 110. So 0 110 is 6. Okay. So here what I did, the actual sum is wrapped. The actual sum is 36. When I wrap it to 4-bit, it becomes 6. So 6 complement. So 6 complement is what? 1001. So here there exists a mistake. Okay. So the LSB, after complement, it should be 1. So 1001, which is 9. So that is what I am trying to transmit here. Got it? So 7, 11, 12, 0, 6. These are the actual numbers I want to transmit. And I have generated the checksum, which is a wrapped sum. Okay. So complement of the wrapped sum. Checksum is nothing but complement of the wrapped sum. So remember this. So you should wrap it. So that's important. Okay. So now at the receiver, what you do, you add these numbers along with this checksum 7, 11, 12, 0, 6 and 9. When you add it, you will get 45. So 45 equivalent is 101101. When you wrap it, 10 comes to the lower side, the LSB side. So it becomes, again there exists a mistake. Okay. So 1, 1, 1, 1, all ones, you will get all ones. You see here, when you wrap it, then you sum it, you will get all ones. Then what you should do, you should complement it. All ones, when you complement, it becomes all zeros. So when you get all zeros, it means the received numbers is perfect. So you remove that checksum and the rest is your actual data. This is how you have to do it. So in the checksum, how you are generating it? You are generating it as the ones complement of the wrapped sum. Okay, ones complement of the wrapped sum. So how you are getting wrapped sum? So you are getting wrapped sum by bringing the MSB bits onto the LSB. How many bits? That depends. Okay, how many bits you should bring? That depends. So here I am using 4 bits to represent my numbers. So 2 bits I brought it. So if I use 5 bits to represent my numbers, then only 1 bit you should bring it onto the LSB side to wrap. So this is the concept. But in reality, you will play with hex digits, not the actual decimal values, instead hex digits. So let's come to that. Yeah. So if the packet header, this is some packet, okay, IPv4 packet, so which is received with some values like this. Okay. So what you should do is you calculate the checksum for this. So how you should do is, all these are hex digits. So you know that each hexadigit is contributing to 4 binary bits. So you take 4 hexadigits at a stretch. So 0100, then below that F203, below that F4, F5, below that F6, F7. That's all. So this 0000 is a checksum which has to be calculated. So once we calculate, then we will replace these zeros with that value. That's fine. So let us see this here. So what I did, so I took 4 hexadigits at a stretch. 0100 I have taken plus F4, F5 plus F6, F7. So what I got 0002 DEEF. So this is what I got as a hex addition. So now what you should do now, you should wrap this 2 onto the LSB side, because finally what I want is 16-bit only. So finally my checksum value should be 4 hexadigits, but here I got 5 hexadigits. So this fifth hexadigit which is there on the MSB side, you bring it to the LSB side and wrap it. So it means that DEF plus 0002 or 002, whatever, 0002 you should take. So 2 plus F is 11, right? If I am not wrong. After F it is 10, then 11. Yes. So 11. So 1 is here and 1 is carry. So 1 plus E is F. So it will be DE F1. This is after wrapping it. Now you should take 1's complement of it. So D's 1's complement is 2, E's 1's complement is 1, F 1's complement is 0, 1 1's complement is E. So 210E is your checksum. So now you should, why you are going for 16-bit? So as per IPv4 we take 16-bit at a time. Okay, so you will come to know when we discuss about IPv4 packets in detail, IPv4 addressing in the network layer aspect, you will come to know how IPv4 packets are verified. Okay, so this is using checksum. We will verify the IPv4 headers. So once the header is perfect, then only we'll look into the data. So if the header is not correct, then we'll ignore that IP packet. So checksum is important concept when you are handling IPv4 packets. So IPv4 packets are arranged such that 32-bit is one row, like that there will be 5 rows of that. So each 32-bit is of contributing to 8 hexadigits. So we will take 4 hexadigits at a stretch. So that is how we play with. Okay, so this is a IPv4 standard. So it is not my convenient. So why I am taking 4 hexadigits is it is a IP as per IPv4. Okay, it's not that I am just like that I am considering here for my convenience. So it is as per IPv4 standard. Fine. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So checksum value for IPv4 is 16-bit. We will generate actually IPv4, IPv4 checksum, we will generate it based on the header values and we will transmit. So that is there in the network layer part. Fine. Now 210E is your checksum which you are going to transmit along with your data. So your data starts from 0100, F203 and so on and so forth till F7. So followed by checksum. This is the story at the sender side. Now at the receiving end, how to play with. So at the receiving end, you should repeat the story that you have to add 16 bits at a stretch. That means 4 hexadigits along with your checksum, which is a 210E. Okay. So 210 is checksum and the rest is your data. So you add all of them and wrap it. So FFFD with wrapped value. So the wrapped value is 0002. So you will arrive at all F's and take one's complement of it. It is zeros. So it means that the received content is correct. So what you should do, the last 16 bit, which is checksum, you ignore it. The remaining is your data. So that's how checksum works. So if you arrive at in this process at the receiver, when you arrive at non-zero values, when you calculate the checksum and wrapping it all that, so it means there exists some error in the received content. So you have to ignore the values. That is how checksum is. So can someone quickly tell this? 466F 726775 7A616E. This is your actual packet header content, and 0000 is checksum which needs to be calculated. So what you do is you try to generate the actual checksum that needs to be transmitted. So you take 4 hex digits at a stretch and add them. Maybe you can use calculator in hexadecimal mode. Give me the value of actual sum, okay, before wrapping. Okay, so 18FBE. Yog Kumar has given that. Yeah, Yuvraj is arriving at the same answer. Fine. So now you wrap it. So wrapped sum becomes 8FBF. Correct? Because one is going on the LSB side, so 8FBF. Fine. Now take complement of it. So for 8 it is, so one's complement is 7 0 B. B is 4, right? Yes. 4. 704 or 5? E is 1. Am I correct? 7041. Oh, it became F, right? So 8F. Yes. Correct. Yeah. Yes. So it is 7040. Correct. So now you transmit this checksum along with your data. Then at the receiver, you add this 7040 also and take wrapping and complement it. You will arrive at all zeros if there is no errors, right? So this is how it works. So there may be some mistakes. You need to understand that. So he has given 7038. So there may be some mistake here. So when you go through the Forusion, this is an example taken from Forusion, but make sure that there are errors in the textbook itself, maybe printing errors or all that stuff. So that you need to understand, but the conceptually the things are same. You can see here the one is wrapped this side. So at the receiver, you arrive at all zeros. Fine. Same way you can do this also. Let me skip that. Yes. So that is about error control at data link layer. So in the next class, we'll continue with the another concept called flow control. Okay. So thank you. Thank you so much. If you have any, doubts, you can raise now in the chat box. I can answer. So today we have completed the error control part of it. Under error control, we have discussed a few techniques that helps us to detect, errors, and some techniques also for corrections. So now I'll try to pose a question that name uh, techniques that we have discussed. Okay, so name the techniques. Name the techniques. Okay, that help you to detect errors. Okay, so name the techniques that help you to detect errors, obviously at the receiver. Okay, so what are the techniques that we have discussed? CRC, yes, it helps you to detect. Checksum, yes. Hamming code, one more you are missing it. Hamming code, CRC, checksum. Yes, exactly. Once Jane, it's a parity check. Yes, parity, exactly. So name the techniques that help you to correct the errors, to correct the errors at the receiver. Exactly. Hamming codes. So Hamming codes can correct Hamming codes. Hamming codes can correct even number of errors, or can correct multiple errors. Multiple errors. Hamming codes can correct multiple errors. No. Yes, Hamming codes cannot correct multiple errors. Okay, so that you should keep in mind. Hamming codes can detect even number of errors. The next question. No, no, yes. So we'll wind up here.